This is Computer Insider, Canada's most watched, most listened to technology series. From around the world, computer news, user tips, hardware profiles, and software insights. Avoiding technobabble, we keep you informed in plain language. Computer Insider is hosted by award-winning international broadcast journalist Bob Pritchard.
Thank you very much for joining us once again today. There's nothing quite like a road trip to really test out our technology and see if all those promises made by the manufacturers really stand up. Having had more than just a little bit of time on my smartphone GPS system and having a brand new car with a built-in GPS system, I was highly confident that I had all the tools I needed to make the 1,500-kilometer trip from the Maritimes to Toronto and back. Famous last words, of course. Our first misadventure came when we found that the car's built-in GPS was missing the new major highway between St. John and Maine. No big issue. We knew where we were going, so we just cruised through what the GPS identified as open fields till we reached the border. After a little socializing with U.S. Customs, we were off on our adventure through Maine. Our first surprise came when Google Maps shut down. We had forgotten that our phones turned off data when international roaming charges kicked in because we worried about the high charges that Canadians face from their own carriers when they're out of country. And by the way, cheap is my middle name. Our solution? To stop at a fast food joint with free Wi-Fi and download one of the new GPS apps for my Galaxy S4. No big deal, download, install, and, well, off and running. Not quite. It seems that the longer you sit in a restaurant, the more food you buy, meaning that our connection speed was, well, pretty pathetic. Probably good enough for email, but a joke for the gig worth of maps I was looking to download. So we gave up and went to plan B, leave the Wi-Fi locator open on our smartphone and stop in front of a house that had an unlocked connection. Guess what? It worked, and it was free. By this time, my eyes were getting pretty tired staring at the screen of my S4, so we installed the GPS software on my Samsung Tab 10.1, complete with maps. Now we're cooking with gas, working with GPS and a big screen, and still no data charges. You would think that by this time we'd have pretty much covered all the mistakes that one could make when using a GPS system. Not so. It seems that at some point we told the GPS that we were on a bicycle and not driving a car. Now you may be thinking this shouldn't make much of a difference, but it really does, because the software started directing us off the highway and onto city streets, and having already committed to follow the GPS directions, we spent an hour or so cruising through the streets of Sherbrooke, Quebec. We could have saved some time if we had only noticed that the time to destination had changed from 12 hours to 6 days. But such is life. Our return trip was much more uneventful, having resolved all of the technology problems on the way down. And by the way, our trip to Toronto was the fastest to date in 15 hours, and even faster back at 13 hours. Amazing how much time you can save when you do the whole trip as a car and not a bicycle. Reporting for Computer Insider, I'm Bob Pritchard.
This is Computer Insider, Canada's most watched, most listened to technology series. From around the world, computer news, user tips, hardware profiles, and software insights. Avoiding technobabble, we keep you informed in plain language. Computer Insider is hosted by award-winning international broadcast journalist Bob Pritchard.